What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Hebrew,
And Tiff.
and welcome back to the channel. Much gratitude for joining us today. We do appreciate it. May peace and blessings be upon you. Today, Portkey Games gave us a 14-minute gameplay trailer reveal of Hogwarts Legacy, and we already watched it earlier. We're just gonna recap and give our thoughts and opinions. I have an interesting take on this, but nonetheless, I brought Tiff in on this video because she's a big Harry Potter fan. I'm a big Harry Potter fan. We're big fans of the Wizarding World and its immersion and its escapism. So this has been much anticipated. It's been like 3 years, I feel like more than that now, since I first heard about it, and it was rumored. And then we had the announcement, and then we had the reveal trailer. And then now we finally got actual gameplay. So first and foremost, one word to describe how you feel after watching this gameplay footage.
One word. Intrigue.
Okay, so what are your highlights of the gameplay? You saw the footage.
The setting. I like how the actual place or world looks. I think it looks good. And it just looks intriguing.
Did this raise or lower your, you said you're intrigued, but did this raise or lower your excitement? No, your excitement for the release.
Raise.
Yeah, like what were the main highlights?
I
like, did you see anything?
Season changes or
you did point
scenery, whatever you would call that.
Dynamic weather
system?
Dynamic seasons that change
it's
throughout the school year.
System. Yeah, that I think is very cool. I mean, it's kind of obvious stuff, but I just also like the whole point of the game, being a student, having a class, going to classes, leveling up through your classes and all that, like the whole role-playing aspect of.
So what are you most looking forward to after watching this?
Roaming around Hogwarts,
just sightseeing
and literally looking at like every square inch of it, because you finally can, like, on your own at your own time. And yeah, that's kind of the heart of all of it anyway. So that's what I'm do, is just the castle in general.
And so so that's the highlights. What were you, anything like disappoint you?
I'm not too interested in all the combat that at least is in the trailer. I'm not really interested in like dueling and combat and fighting people all the time, and it looked like they showed quite a bit of that. I mean, once in a while, sure, but I feel like as a student, the main focus should be the world, learning, like the school part of it, I guess, and then other stuff, you know, obviously, but like, because it seemed like quite a lot of dueling and fighting for 5th year students to be doing. And I just personally don't really like that stuff anyway. I don't really like fighting in games. And
so the combat,
yeah, and it depends though, like if it's gonna be complex. Like I like that you can, you know, develop new, like you can be strategic with your combat and stuff by what you learn and how you're progressing in the game. But I just hope that it's not gonna be too complex, or that you can choose different levels and stuff, because I don't really have fun with the game if it's too complex. But I will say, and like graphically, like I would give it like 8 out of 10, because the style does look a little cartoonish, I guess you could say, like as far as the characters go and the creatures go, and not even that bad, like not like Fortnite or something like that, but I don't know.
Yeah, I don't, well, that's what I was wondering, where you're going with that. Like, do you want photorealism, or I don't know what you mean by like
it to look like
what do you have, what problem do you have with the art style? It just looks cartoony, I guess you're saying. I know you had a problem with the art style. Does what's his name starts with a D? Your own house elf that's in the room of requirements.
To me, he looks like,
okay.
And the main character.
So some of that's fine. Some parts of the game look cartoony to you. Mm-hmm. Like I don't want. I'll get into mine and what I think looks cartoony, but.
And some of the creatures.
And some of the beasts.
Or like the way the lighting is with certain things like that. I mean,
so you, I don't know. Maybe not the aesthetic, but maybe the design more so cartoony.
Yeah, and it's not really with the world. Like to me, magical that looks real. It looks like real stone and real grass and like real everything. But I thought the whole game was gonna look like that, and then there's like things that look like they're straight out of Pokemon.
That's not a bad reference.
But that's why I just said that part, or like as far as, that's why I would rate my intriguedness, excitement, like an 8 out of 10. 1 point for like dueling fighting stuff, and then another point for just the way some of the graphic look of things. But it's not like it turns me off at all, really. It's just two things that I'm kind of skeptical of, and They don't interest me really. What does interest me is like everything else, basically.
Any other gripes? I know, like, I brought some up with this and the lighting. And we kind of agreed on that as well. Like, visually,
I think the daytime lighting. I mean, I think overall the lighting looks really good, except for the outside of the castle at night. They clearly need more lighting on the outside of the castle instead of just inside of it. They should put lights, torches, something, or at least light shining on the outside of a castle wall, like, you know, to light up the building like people do and like it is in the movie. It's just completely dark on the outside of it, so it's not as that's not as intriguing at night as it really does look, at least in the movie from what we've seen. They could light up the outside of the building so that we can actually see all the details at night, or even just the ground around it, a trail up to the castle, have torches or like actual lighting like really would. So I hope they add that or change that, because then what, at night are you gonna be like, do you think you're not gonna be able to walk around at night and you're not gonna need light because you're gonna be in your dormitory? Or like, I hope they change that and add like more lighting outside. But technically, you know, we don't really go out at night.
we like the way that the castle looks during the day.
Yeah, I think it looks,
Doesn't look cartoony.
and no,
Okay.
and when you're inside and there's light showing, I think it looks good too, like the lighting inside, because I'm kind of, I don't know if I would say big on that, but lighting to me is important for video games.
Looks so surprised. Yeah. So we're saying
The best.
kind of like outside have this same sort of glare, the same sort of reflection, ambience, whatever.
Well, yeah,
around
you
the lights
see how
outside.
it's lighting up the wall.
Right.
That's
right.
what you do on outside of buildings normally,
Right.
so that you can see it.
Anything you want to that you like to see added to the game from what you've seen? Like anything that missed out that, oh, I was hoping to see this, or I'd like to see this implemented.
Well, I was hoping to see more of what options you have in creating your avatar. Well, beyond appearance, I mean, like, I want to see if you can add personality traits on your own and like interests and dislikes and likes, so that when you go to the sorting hat, they go off of something realistic rather than like randomizing it. So
Well,
I'm
sure they'll
hoping
have
that there's
some
internal
system.
and external like good customization for characters.
I'm sure there's something like that in order to, you know, some sort of survey or some sort of
Quiz or
system
something.
set up to kind of navigate how or what class, what house you're going to be in. And of course, you ultimately get to pick what house you want to be in if you don't like what it gives you, I would assume.
Mhm.
But they did verify that you can pick what house you're in.
Mhm.
So something along these, I don't know, talents or your character, the first choice here under the character tab.
And I want to know if this is going to be eventually something you can play online.
I haven't seen them mention anything about it. Right now, it's just a single player RPG. I think that that'd be a missed opportunity to not do at least co-op. I think to do co-op would be good. Multiplayer, if you don't do multiplayer, that's fine. With some of the article of clothing and the outfits that you can select, just the way that the mechanics are set up in the system, I could see a multiplayer working with a live service, and I don't want to go here, but a live service and a battle pass, or, you know, a season pass, something of that nature. But at least incorporate co-op, where you can go through the story with one friend, because they allow you to have one friend, an NPC, one of the three, that, like I said, the black girl or boy from Slytherin, and then that white girl that looks like same traits of like Luna or something, very charismatic, and like the modest Slytherin. I think there should be a co-op method, yeah. Even if it's, you know, a few months, whatever, or so after release.
And I do like that the world does expand beyond Hogwarts. I didn't think of that when we first heard about it. I didn't even think that was going to be a thing or consider anything like that. But after seeing it and stuff, I'm interested in going beyond Hogwarts. I feel like I will mostly and mainly be at and care about Hogwarts itself, but I still am interested to go beyond that, just because it's still the wizarding world in general, and I would love to see different aspects of it, even if it's on the grounds, but completely something we haven't seen before, just because it's there and they made it. Like, I like that they added that. I don't think I'll be spending too much time. Who knows? I mean, maybe after I've explored Hogwarts 50,000 hours, maybe I'll spend more time outside of it. But I like that part about it, I'll say. And I like that you can go in all the doors. I would think that you could, but
so the main reason
exciting.
is because you didn't see all of them in the films.
Like
And they only alluded to some of them in the book, in the literature.
they describe them a little, but yeah, they don't really show beyond like Gryffindor and Slytherin a couple times. Like you don't really know much about the dormitories, especially outside of Gryffindor. So I'm excited to see those, and like I hope I can go into other dormitories just to at least see them, even if I'm not in that house. But I don't know.
There's a lot of exploration.
Yeah.
And they show outside the castle also like quest givers out in the world. These I won't say villages, but I forget what they call it. And they have vendors. So you see this here, like this is a little, like almost like a little village. This is inside somewhere, probably Gringotts, because you got the little elves, goblins. I can't find the exact spot. And then you can loot and what now. So there you go. You said you want to see traits. This seems to be in your, well, it's like a tailor back here. I was gonna say, yeah, and you got the threads. So not the dormitory, somewhere in Hogsmeade. So you'll go down for your traits or what. I don't know what that. See, I also want to see how far the role, and I'll get into my opinion on the game here in a minute. But like, I do want to see how in depth the role playing system is. You know what I mean? And upgrading your characters, and they got the loot and all that. So I want to see how in depth that is. And if that goes into like your clothes, or if you get certain, I don't know, because what do you when you're looting, what are you looting? Like, are you unlocking abilities, upgrades? Like what is it? Your traits would seem to be something that you choose via some sort of, I won't say currency, but they showed something like that earlier. Like even like in your article of clothing, like there's no like armor sets or anything, but like your wand, didn't say much about the wand, but your wand and how the role-playing mechanics and the progression system works via the role-playing system with your wand, your witch or wizard, broomstick, things of that nature.
Also, or I think they just could have taken out a little bit of combat footage, because like they have quite a bit of it in there, and I understand why, but like I think they should have expanded a little more on flying brooms or whatever the case. The only thing I remember hearing was that you can take the class or whatever, and obviously you improve your skills and level up, so I'm assuming that like at first you'll maybe kind of suck, and then as you go on, maybe level up and rank up or something in it, and it'll get better or easier. I don't know, but they didn't really show too much about it. They didn't really say too much about it. They didn't say anything about Quidditch, so they could have put a little bit more time into that, because that's a big part of it.
Okay, so for me, I was underwhelmed when it comes to this trailer. Let me explain. Very ambitious. You're getting a cross of the Harry Potter literature, films, and then also you're getting Fantastic Beasts. So there's a lot, and then you see a lot of exploration outside the world. You see the Forbidden Forest, the lake. You see Hogsmeade. You see Gringotts. There's a lot, and then like you're going in depth, like you're going into Gringotts, and there's a lot here. It's very ambitious, it appears. And I'm going into this with a clean palette, by the way. But given the way the games are going, I hope that this comes out polished. And from here till the release date, that they're polishing the game, refining the mechanics, and getting some sort of player feedback, but already have the game finished and not finishing the game and it's coming to its completion stage, and then start polishing it. So that's that. The highlights for me, I'll just get straight into what I don't, my gripes, because then I can kind of go into the highlights. So the broomstick. Now, the broomstick, like the wand, like a wizard or witch's wand, is an extension of the wizard. The broomstick is a vital part of the wizarding world. It's the main means of transportation. There needed to be at least a 1 to 2 minute segment when it came to the broomstick. Like, can you spawn it at will? What is the travel distance? Can I go and fly around Hogwarts at any time? Is there a curfew where you can't be flying? But can I fly around Hogwarts any time of the day? Anytime I want? Can I go take it to for exploration? How far can I go with it? Aside from that, the physics. What I saw when it came to the broomstick, I was very, very underwhelmed. It looked like a roller coaster ride. It looked very stiff. I don't know if this is a lock 60 FPS. I don't know what the frame rate is. Hopefully 4K, native 4K 60 on the Series X. We'll be playing on the Series X. What I saw when it came to the broomstick was very stiff. I didn't like it at all. If they would have took 2 minutes to show animations, I mean drifting, stopping, you know, when Harry's doing Quidditch, he's flipping, and even Ron and whatever, when you're offense and defense, or you're playing Quidditch and you're going to score, they're doing flips and hitting it with the back of the broom, and they're like the way that they're the maneuvers and stuff. I would have liked to see more of that. I've seen more of that. The sense of speed. Can you coast and then accelerate even more? Like, can you upgrade it? Is there a we're talking about the role-playing aspect, and we're talking about like upgrades. Can you get a broom and upgrade it? Start off with something basic and then you upgrade that eventually? Is there customization? Because like in Red Dead Redemption 2, you have a horse, and they expounded on the horse mechanics, and it's beautiful. Like that's the main means of transportation. In GTA 5, you have the cars, then you have the, you know, the aesthetics and the customization to it. So they needed to put emphasis on the broomstick. Like that was one of my, I took straight to Twitter and was like, hey, what about the broomstick? So maybe they'll show more. At least we'll get I believe we'll at least get a release trailer. That was one of my main gripes, was the broomstick and the lack of animations and showing the physics, and that it should have its own segment.
And I just wonder in general if we're gonna have any other means of transportation, other ways of transportation.
Like the powder.
Yeah, flu powder or Fort Anglia. Even though that, obviously not everyone's gonna have a flying car that's mainly for like, you know, but I know there's more than one way to get around, so I just wonder if they're only gonna stick to the...
This is pre Harry
yeah,
Potter,
not,
so there's probably no flying cars. Well, they come in on a
flying carriage, so I guess that was their version of it then.
Right.
And I wonder, do you fast travel, or do you have to actually go any fast traveling? Because this world is pretty dang big.
I mean, we're talking the Wizarding World. Like fast traveling never made more sense.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, there's gonna be means of fast travel. You know, you'll go into the cupboard. You know, you'll pull a Malfoy. Now the combat, the combat. Again, this is probably, I'm looking at it, I'm seeing 30 FPS. You know, it's a graphical showcase, even though it's running at 1080p on the stream. This it was running 30 FPS. So I would think by looking at it, that's what I'm seeing. The combat came off as boring. Watching the combat, and I went back and revisited it, and maybe it was oversaturated, like you were saying, there was too much combat. Watching it looked boring, stale, and stiff. I think when it comes to the scripted boss fight, like when I don't know, the scripted dragon fights, or like when you fight an ogre, tackling, or I don't know if you'd be tackling or fighting fantastic beasts, because say you're saving, or beasts, you're saving them from the poachers and things of that nature. So I don't know if you'll be fighting beasts, obviously, but I don't know or dragons, but I don't know if we'll be fighting any of the beasts. I think those will make more sense and be more scripted and be awesome. And I also like the power moves. I like the finishers. I like, you know, when he's taking the weapon from the enemy and killing him with it. Like, there are some cool animations within the combat. So the boss battles, I'm sure, will be epic, again, because they're scripted. Now, when it comes to you in the open world, and when you come to these events or these enemies that are just wizards and witches, and you're in center stage, and you see like 4 or 5 witches and wizards, and they're just doing this, and they're all exchanging. Like they're just trading shots. Now I do like animations. He's going behind his back, boom. You know, he looks fluid and he looked good in the trailer, casting his spells. And then I saw more of like teleporting, and there's a dodge or a roll. But as far as like this, just the one-on-one combat, it looks boring. Like you're just trading. And I know, like with the pairing, use the wand. So, but if I remember correctly, in the older Harry Potter games, there was like you could take cover. So I don't know if there's a mechanic, or like a mechanic where you can take cover and then hop out, hit him with his spell, and then go back. But just standing there, as we see, and him just hitting him with the wand, like, so the dueling, that's fine. You know, you're one-on-one, that's fine. When it comes to like this right here, you got 5 enemies, and it's you, and you're just trading, going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. It just, it gets boring. Some of the animations look cool. Like I said, some of the finishers, some of the power moves look cool. The way he's moving, the fluidity looks good, especially if we're running at 60 FPS. Whew. But overall, that's my gripe with the combat system.
Do you feel like it's the fact that it looks like he's fighting all the time, or is it the fact that he's not doing that much with his body? If he was doing more advanced cool stuff, would it still be boring to you, or because there's all the fighting? Or is it boring because there's all the fighting? Because obviously I would think that as you rank up and get better, that you're probably going to learn tricks and...
No, give me all the combat. Cool. Yeah, that's fine. Make that an option. And I just said, the way he's moving is fine. The way he's casting his spells, the way he's leaning into them, the fluidity with, I mean, him spinning around and all that, hit him behind, going behind his back and all the tricks and all that is cool.
What would make it not boring?
Being able to take cover or just have it be more dynamic. It's just every time I see it, it's 4 enemies in front of me and we're just trading. It just seems to get tedious and boring over time. Can I attack from my broom? Can I get on the hippogriff and attack? Have him come down. Can we use him? The wand, yes. Enemy types, we'll see how many there are. Different approaches, so much, dueling and stuff. Like, just give me a different approach as well would help. Like, give me different approaches, Maybe there's some scripted missions where you use the broom and stuff like that. The next thing is the lighting and the animations for the spells. Like, I feel like they are trying to put emphasis on every spell. Like, there's a color effect for every spell. Unless it's a powerful, then I understand, show the green, have it dripping like, like cinematically, like in the movies. I would like to see the recipient showing the effect, like being stunned as they show in like Fall Over. That was a pretty good stun animation. Being shocked, or like just have the recipient showing it more than just having than all this flash on the screen, all this flash and flare. I don't feel that it's necessary, and it that's where it gets cartoony for me. With all the colors on the screen, it gets a little cartoony. And as the hours go on and you start fatiguing yourself with the combat, I feel like I'm gonna feel that way more and more, that there's too much flash on the screen. I'd like to see it. It just feels more mature when Weasley's mother take out Bellatrix Lestrange and she just zaps and falls.
Effect of the enemy.
I want to see the recipient of the spell show more of the effect than all the colors on the screen. Like, I can't even see what's happening to the enemy because there's so much going on.
I do like when he pulls out the mandrake and they all are like this. Because not only does that give you a reason to use creatures, because you can use them in combat. Because I like that you can use spells, creatures, potions for all I know. I don't know. Get them to drink a potion. Or maybe you can drink a potion and it'll help you fight. But I like that. I don't know what other creatures they have, but the use of the mandrake where they were like this, that actually worked. And it's like there's actual reason for it now.
Like, this is cool here. There's certain power moves. This right here, power move. Those are good, but every time you see it, like, we go through this and then again another 1, 2, 3 enemies just standing in front of you. The way he moves that and the way he uses the weapon, like I said, to take him out, that's cool. Now that makes sense. If it's a power move, add all the flare, add all the color.
Yeah. But
again, this enemy's always standing in front of me, and I'm just trading. I don't know. And that's really all. We didn't see. I would have liked to see, and I understand this because it's a graphical showcase. We didn't see a lot, hardly any of the UI, the HUD, the mini map. Are they going to be innovative with the mini map, or is it just a mini map? They didn't, like I said, the branching tree and all that, but like the heads up display, we didn't really see that. I like to see what that looks like. They did a lot. Like, they could have showed, it was 14 minutes, so they could have, the things I wanted to see, like as far as the broomstick and the innovation with that, as well as the heads up display, they could have shown that as well. We didn't see that. I understand why, but it would have been nice to see that, see the mini map and what that looks like. Is it the Mortars map? Do they get, no, but or it's just a regular mini map. You know what I mean? But I do think there's a lot of ambition here, a lot of resources, mixing the Fantastic Beasts and the Harry Potter films. Many settings, many areas to explore outside the classroom, outside of Hogwarts. You got Hogsmeade, Gringotts, you got Forest, Lake, and that's all they said so far. I just hope that it's polished before release. And speaking of release, we didn't get a day and date. We got a holiday 2022, and it being arguably like a quarter into the year. If you're saying holiday 2022,
I feel like it's gonna be next year.
Maybe a delay, into January, February, or March, God forbid. But I feel
like that means holiday 2022. We're gonna announce when we're gonna put this out.
No, the announcement is holiday 2022. I mean, that they're saying it's coming out this year. But when you say holiday and we're a quarter into the year, that just makes me believe that there's a high possibility of it getting delayed. I think they're going to try to hit, early December, November if they can. But because as you get closer to Christmas, all that money's spent. So
there is a good time to do it.
November, I'd like to see, but I automatically went to December. They say holiday. It's like got a little snow in the background there. I'm thinking around December latest. Hopefully, but we won't know until we know. But yeah, they're still very much anticipating the game. I just was a little underwhelmed.
And I was not.
But there's a lot that I saw. The room of requirements and how they're doing that, like with like Newt Scamander did with the Fantastic Beasts, how you have that vivarium and you can go inside there, and the customization. I like that when they said you have a cottage, you can customize it to your liking. If you paid attention to the potions table, you can customize that as well with the 3 burners on it.
Style.
I mean, yeah, I mean, there actually it appears to have like an in-depth system, multiple systems. So very ambitious from what we've seen from the games that have been coming out unfinished. I hope, I don't like to use that word, either it is or it ain't, that it comes out polished and ready to go holiday 2022. This was supposed to come out 2021. It got delayed. Yes. That was the initial release date. 1800s. We're talking about, we're in the same era as Red Dead Redemption 2. But yeah, what did you feel about the clothing? Yeah, what did you feel about the clothing?
Well, I didn't see many clothes that any clothes that I was interested in.
For
However,
girls.
yeah, and I am aware though that this is a whole other era, but I just didn't. I mean, it looks like there are diverse stuff: hats, shoes, capes, shirts, pants.
Yeah.
There's a lot of accessories.
You can
at
mix
least it
and
looks
match your
like. So
clothes.
I'm curious, but I don't really know much to say about it because I feel like all I want is now another trailer with more stuff. Cover more stuff. Don't cover anything you already covered, and now show us like another at least 5-minute trailer of like broomstick stuff or flying stuff, clothing stuff, character stuff,
Quidditch.
Show us like a little bit more. I mean, I'm sure that obviously they're gonna have, or they do have these things, but it's a matter of how they work, how they're gonna look, how much. They haven't really showed much of that. How are we gonna get money to pay for all the supplies we need for school? But I mean, that's gonna obviously come. Obviously, they don't want to tell us everything in the beginning because then it's not gonna be exciting.
Well, and one of the things that you were talking about is you want to see because they said that you receive your acceptance letter late and you're coming in, on your 5th year, and there's a mystery to that, hinting towards a story as to why you're coming in on your 5th year instead of your 1st year. And you wanted to see the process of the acceptance letter where you're outside of Hogwarts and then it brings you into that setting via that flying carriage ride. And then here's the clothing, right?
Like there just be
you want to see that letter. You want to get that letter and unopen it, pressing the A button.
They better make that a big deal. Like that's a big deal.
Getting your letter.
Yeah, just the start of it all. Like holy moly, make it a big deal.
So here's the clothes. You see that you can mix and match hats, maybe capes with whole outfits. Some of this looks a little funky. We got some like normal, and then you have some extravagant. Probably costs a lot of, I don't know, coin or whatever.
That's what I'm saying. I wonder where you get money from.
Like, and what is the currency? Sure.
We're students. Sure. What are we gonna get money from?
Or is it just unlocks? I don't know.
Yeah.
That I don't know what's going on there. But yeah. They didn't really show, like they didn't go into the story much. They didn't go into the story at all from what I've seen. It was all gameplay, which is fine. I appreciate that they're showing gameplay. I appreciate that it was all gameplay, and it looks even better. Like if you're watching the stream, go back and watch the 4K upload. It's standalone.
A huge difference.
Always do that. And I knew, and that's why I told you as soon as it ended. I said that was 1080p being streamed, so be easy on the graphics, but I'm gameplay over graphics anyways. I'm still excited. I mean, this is the first Harry Potter game that we're getting that's not licensed from a movie and a copy and paste. It's its own open world, and we'll see where it goes. And to, I don't know, I'll briefly say to Warner Brothers, Portkey Games, Avalanche, the whole controversy with people wanting to the small group that wants to cancel this game or doesn't want to support it because of one person's comments is just silly. So the fact that I don't know if that was hence the delay, but try to tailor the game towards that small group, it's not your demographic, is only going to hurt you. As you see, made accommodations for that group and they're still complaining and trying to boycott your game. So that's not your demographic. That's not your target or core audience. I'm seeing the target and core audience because if they would have gave a day and date and people were able to pre-orders would have been through the roof. Like this, the first revealed trailer, this is the gameplay reveal, but the first announcement or reveal trailer is almost up there with Spider-Man for PS4 as far as views. So you would have saw your core fans buy this up. Like I do think this is a game of the year contender, depending on if it releases this year with the we still got God of War supposed to come out, but you got Horizon Zero Dawn, Elden Ring, just based off the hype, like the Cyberpunk had. Hopefully this delivers on a different scale. But don't pander. Stick to just stick to the script, okay? Don't pander because you see that that's not making you money and that's not your audience anyways.
And I would like to be as fully immersed in this era as possible for it to all make sense. this is not a modern day. This is old, and I already got thrown off with the
Yeah, with
fact
the
that we
hair
could
color.
change hair colors to
Yeah.
pink and red, which I love that I love being able to have the freedom, but like it doesn't really make sense for this era.
Player choice, and that's a minor gripe if you
Yeah,
say
I'm
that.
not complaining about it.
Well,
I just won't use it. But
I was saying, you know, Nifadora, like you Trunks, like he changed her hair color, but like you said, that's even more in the future. So would they even be thinking about that? But this is witches and wizards, so they would take advantage of things that Muggles couldn't, or us human folk couldn't, like regular human folks, Muggles, and maybe they would change their hair color. We don't know, but yeah, that's all. I don't have a problem with that. I'm still very much anticipating it. It didn't warrant me bringing out the Elder Wand. Still have Harry's wand. Yes, Hermione's. It didn't warrant it yet.
thumbnail.
But oh yeah, we do need to get a thumbnail.
Yeah,
I don't.
I'm excited though.
You know, just that's just how I feel. Like I was just underwhelmed. I sat and watched whole thing. You know, Hawkeyes, Eagle Eyes, whatever, and I came off underwhelmed. As I go back and revisit it, I do like more and more what I see, especially in 4K, that I can actually see the detail. Because at first, the Hogwarts castle, and I saw somebody else parrot the same thing on Twitter, it looked dull. And that's what I brought up. I brought up the lighting like that. It was at night, but it looked dull, and it looked like it was almost clay, and it looked cartoony. And I'm like, why does it look so? It mostly just looked dull, and it didn't look inviting at all. So when you start off like that, it's like But the character models look okay. I didn't like the character animations, like the facial animations when they were talking. The words didn't line up at times. I mean, I'm not gonna say this is early in the works. This should be complete. This is a gameplay reveal. But we're still, you know, months out. But I'm excited to play it. I was just underwhelmed by the trailer, but I'm excited to play it. But this day and age, you got to get your hands on it and experience it for yourself and see what it really is. I really want to see like the world. This is the game where the world around you really needs to feel alive. Like how we're seeing in the room of requirements, you know, a knife chopping by itself. You know, like in the films when you see you see it a lot in the Weasley's house. And you see like instruments as you're walking through Hogwarts in the game here, in Hogwarts Legacy, as I pointed out, the instruments playing themselves, the pictures being alive. You got Nearly Headless Nick coming on. This should feel so alive. So they delayed it. Let's execute and deliver. J.K. Rowling, thank you very much for making this game possible with the ideas that and the magic that you created. This should be one of the most immersive, alive feeling worlds. I gotta tell you.
I think the trailer was overwhelming at first, as far as all the things that they were cramming in it, not like what they were showing. I think they could have probably rearranged some things and showed different things, as far as that's what I mean by that. But the more you watch it and get to take time and like see it and notice, because of that, you know, I feel like you miss a lot of things. So if you go back and really like see everything, I just start getting excited because we're gonna have finally, after all this time, a new, modern, good-looking game where we can freely roam around this world. Like, that alone is exciting to me.
Yes.
So I'm like, what? But and then
you're so cute and you get excited.
And with the things you're talking about, the world being alive, with things moving, I think it's important that they will make things like that seem natural, though, not like you're walking by and a timer went off and it starts moving.
You're walking away. You're walking around
important,
GTA,
because otherwise it's gonna feel like I'm playing in 2005 again. Like,
every NPC you walk by in GTA does what?
They start talking on the phone.
Picks up the phone.
So I feel like that's important, and I think from what I've seen,
mother.
And from what I've seen, it looks like it's gonna be like that. So that's good.
A living, breathing world.
It should already be moving in general. Right. So
you should be inside of. You should be inside of your dormitory, right? You know, hearing the ambience outside. You know, a little bit.
I didn't even think we don't
when
even
you wake
hear
up,
anything in the game.
And then as soon as you step outside, it's like walking into the Ministry of Magic. It's just things are going.
I hope
like the world is going on while you're sleeping and while you're not, you know.
Yeah.
And when you're outside of Hogwarts, you have that feeling that people are in there learning. When you're and they didn't show Quidditch, but you know, maybe see Quidditch off in the distance after you get your introduction. You can go there and play Quidditch. But just have the world feel alive around you with the NPCs and the AI. That's what I'm saying. Like, we really need to see innovation. This is cross-gen. You know, you can still be creative. But yeah. I'm excited. Like I said, it's very ambitious.
Oh, that's what I was saying. I wonder about we don't get to hear any of the sound from the game, but I hope that there's at least the main prologue song or whatever playing at some point, because the music is one of my favorite things about this entire world.
Of course.
I mean, obviously I'm
released
pretty
the
sure they'll
awareness.
be able to use the music if they're all
Of
working
course.
together, but I assume that they're also going to create, you know, music for it. So I'm just saying I
New
hope
sound.
I
Oh
hope
yeah.
they keep original music and
Well,
then
yeah,
also
you'll.
create some,
I got you. Yeah, well, like when you're
because it is a
doing
game and it's in a different
missions, and
era,
when
so
you're
I
in,
would think they wouldn't want to use the music from the movies.
well, when
But I
you're
don't know.
no, it's the same world. I get what you're saying, and we'll see. Maybe I'm wrong. I think you will have that opening. You'll have that theme song. But yeah, like when you're
And
in
like in the
combat
background,
and
you're walking
things
around.
and such and doing missions, it'll have its own magical music playing that they orchestrate. Yeah. All right, guys. So this ran way longer than it's supposed to. We're 52 minutes in. Anything else? Are you good?
Nope.
I hate to ask anything
And
else.
I'm about to disappear.
Yeah, I don't have that type of software, so you're still here. If you guys enjoyed this type of impressions, not really a breakdown, just our impressions, maybe drop a like on the video. I don't know.
Maybe
Leave a
hit the subscribe to watch more like this.
sure. And drop a comment. And if
Maybe
you are
share it.
anticipating this is something I made 2 videos on this. One was the delay, and then one was the controversy. So this will be the 3rd video. Thank you guys very much. Much gratitude. Until next time, it's your boy Young Hebrew. Rest easy.
Over and out. What?